Hey guys, welcome to number 5 of Comfortable Hell and my vlog. Last time, now obviously sometimes I'm wearing the same shirt because I'm just recording a bunch of these when I feel like doing it. So anyway, change the location. So at my last vlog, I talked about a few things that, were happening, mostly red flags that were happening in my highlighted relationship here with Robert, and how I was ignoring them, and I can understand how some people would probably think that somebody doing all these nice things for you was cool, and oh my god, and this is where I was caught up, because I kept telling myself, am I being judgmental and I'm not giving him a chance? That's what I kept telling myself, like, he's doing all these things that made me like uncomfortable and put my intuition on high alert. And I felt like it wasn't right, and I wasn't sharing enough with my girlfriends. Okay, that's like the first thing that's wrong. Like, I didn't want to share any of this stuff. And like I said, I did tell my girlfriend about that breathing thing or whatever, and she was like, okay, that's kind of weird. But I could tell that I was starting to not tell my close friends things that were going on. And hindsight, had I done that, I think they would have provided a perspective for me. And so I think that, you know, relationship 101, if you stop talking to your friends and family and you don't feel that they need to know or that you want to tell them these things, like that's a super red flag. But I stopped talking to my friends, like, and it would only be like, oh, things are so good. Oh, he did this for me. He bought me this. He took me here, stuff like that. But I wasn't talking about the feelings that I had around it and how uncomfortable I was. And so I know that was a mistake on my part. But yes, and like I said before, like, I know that there are some guys that just do really nice things, and I'm not trying to take away from that part. But in my case, it was the love bombing, as it's called, and that really made me think that I was being judgmental to have like second thoughts about what he was doing and judging what he was doing. So I was blaming myself. I was like, there's got to be something wrong with me, why I am not just going, oh my God, that's so sweet that he's doing all this stuff. He remembered all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So in my case, it wasn't good. And these are the things that I would have done better. I would have definitely brought my friends in more, and shared with them how I really felt. So this is early on in our relationship. We probably went out a few times, and it was Christmas, and it was Christmas Day, and he had been to my house one time. Okay, because so say we've been talking for a couple months now, and we had been out a couple times, and he came to my house one time to pick me up for dinner. And hindsight, it's like, not that anybody can find out where you live these days, but it's like, but I willingly gave him my address. And so Christmas morning, so that's where we're at. We've been talking by text, for a couple months, and we had been out, I don't know, a handful of times. I'm not really 100% certain about, but that's where we were at. And so Christmas morning, I wake up and I get this text from a random number, and it said, hi, Sarah, this is, I don't know, Santa Claus or some shit. And something like, I left a gift out on your porch, or, something. And I was like, I shit you not, I was so scared about this text that, people are crazy these days. And I'm like, first of all, who the fuck is this from? And second of all, someone came to my house. Okay. And so I didn't say anything to my kids, because my kids were, they were still young, like probably elementary school, maybe still, or somewhere, like somewhere around that, definitely elementary school. And so I didn't tell them about it, and I didn't go outside for probably, or answer that text or anything. I never ended up answering that text. It was so creepy, and it made me so uncomfortable that someone came to my freaking house and dropped something off. I'm like, what if someone is waiting in the bushes and I walk out there? I'm home alone with my kids and they're little, or I'm like, what if it's something, super creepy? Or I was having all kinds of thoughts about this, and I was so uncomfortable, and I thought it was so wrong. And so after my kids left to go to their dads, I don't know how many hours after, 8 hours after I got this text, I went outside and there was a box, and I'm like, oh my God, what if somebody's like, wait, in the, not only in the bushes or like, but in a car, like down the street, watching me. Like, for all I know, this person could have been doing that, and probably did, because they're fucking crazy. So anyway, I bring it in, I open it up, and it's a t-shirt from the first bar we went to, that first date. We were down in the flats. And I mentioned that I thought this one t-shirt was really cool, and I love to collect t-shirts from bars. That was kind of my thing at the time. So he remembered that and bought it for me. And then the beer, I'm not a beer drinker, but there was this beer that my girlfriend and I had in Jerusalem one of the times I went. And it was some Belgian cherry beer or something. Anyway, when this guy and I, Robert and I, went out on our first date, this bar had this Belgian stuff that I had in Jerusalem. And so he remembered that also. So in this box for Christmas was this shirt that I said was cool, and maybe a 4-pack of this Belgian beer. And so it was, blah, blah, blah. And I was just kind of like, okay, I was really freaked out about the fact that this guy that I was just starting to see came to my house. So of course, what happens next? I go, Sarah, stop being so judgmental. This was really sweet. Really, it was sweet. Regardless of how he did it, it was sweet. And I swear, if I would have told my friends that he did it, they probably would have been like, dude, that's not okay. It's not okay that he was at your house. And I'm like kind of going back and forth as to whether I told him about this and really shared my feelings. But I know that during this time I did share that he was in a place with his divorce and his ex-wife and his kids and all that stuff. Like, he was in a place that, that needed so much healing and correction. And I remember telling him, like, I just don't think this is going to work. I saw where his kids were, and I saw the things that they needed on a physical level. And I looked at him, and he was so well taken care of. Okay. Like, he made decent money. And when he got divorced, he bought a motorcycle. He got haircuts every 3 weeks or 2 weeks, whatever. Bought himself new clothes, all this stuff. And I saw that his kids weren't getting the same treatment. And he's like, well, I don't have the money for it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You bought yourself a motorcycle. You're telling your kids you don't have money for anything. Like, they can't get haircuts because you don't have money for it, or whatever the fuck. And, and I'm like, why don't you, your kids need shoes. Like, they're like wearing the bottoms out of their shoes. I'm like, you have, 7 pairs of new shoes. And, you go out and you do things. I'm like, but these kids need this shit. And I was like so pissed off at like, why the hell they weren't being taken care of like they should. And he just kept saying, because there's no money. But I'm like, but you have money for yourself. Well, that's not, like the fuck. And so I told him like that, I'm not comfortable with where you're at. And I don't think this is going to work. And you need a lot of, whatever, like go do your thing. And then he would swoop in and he would say all the right things, right? Like, I need you. I need your help. My family needs you. Blah, blah, blah. God, it's like the things that I tried to get out of it. And, I just, I don't know. You guys, seriously, like I can't begin to explain how many things that I saw were wrong and how many things I like. It's like I was going backwards, but I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can help. I can, help him take care of his kids and, like learn how to, but he just didn't give a shit. He didn't care about anyone. Like, he didn't know how to care about anyone because it was just all like, at the end of the day, it was saving himself, and I knew it and I felt it. And I just fell for this shit of, we need you and I need you and don't leave me now and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's, he hooked me back in and, I got taken down this freaking shit show road. But it wasn't all that bad at this time. I mean, it was bad. Like the things he needed to take care of in his family life were insurmountable. And he needed to learn how to love and he needed to stop putting himself first. But it was okay because I was still living by myself. Okay, I still had my own place and I still had my own finances, my own account. Nothing with him was intermingled. And so I think things were okay because of that. So he didn't have control over me in a way yet where I was just giving up everything, where I was, I still had some autonomy. Although I feel, I knew at that time there was a situation where he was at he was at my house and my kids were there. We had met each other's kids. And I had my phone in the kitchen. And mind you, this is like the first, probably maybe 4 months of dating. And my phone was in the kitchen and I came downstairs and my phone was on, like it was like somebody had opened it. And I was like, and no one knows my passcode. I mean, I had a feeling that he did because I felt like he was always watching me. And I think this was probably an iPhone that didn't have facial recognition. And I came down the steps and I saw my phone was on and I go, and I didn't want to think it was him. So I said to my kids who were in the front room and I said, hey, you guys, was somebody just in my phone? And they were like, we don't know what you're talking about. And I go, no, I'm serious. Who was in my phone? My phone was on. I was upstairs for 5 minutes. Your phone doesn't stay on, that long. It doesn't stay open. And they go, Mom, seriously, like, what are you talking about? And I was like, and I looked at him and I said, were you in my phone? And he was like, no. And I said, what the fuck? My phone was on. Somebody was in my phone. Like, stop making me think that I'm freaking crazy, like, and he was like, I wasn't in your phone. And he's like, how would I get in there? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God. I go, you guys, I'm not going to let this go. I'm seriously not going to let this go. Like someone was in my phone and I just went on and on. And for some reason, I don't know why, obviously it was for his benefit because he wanted me to think that he was so trustworthy. He said, okay, I went into your phone. And I was like, what the fuck is your problem? And he was like, like, what were you looking for? And I don't remember what he said, but seriously, Like anyone that needs to go into my personal property, if you're feeling like insecure about something in our relationship, just fucking leave. Because, I should have been like, you need to leave. You need to go get your shit together. Get the fuck out of here. But I didn't do that, of course. Of course. So I kept him around. I was pissed. I mean, God knows. I'm like, did you find what you were looking for? So anyway, we'll end there. But obviously I should have known better, but I didn't. It's my job to teach him how to have an independent relationship. So we're forging ahead. Hope you enjoyed number 5. We'll see you guys for next time when I continue to talk the sort of the beginning of the relationship and still talking red flags and all the things that I just accepted. See you guys later.